Well, good afternoon, University Liggett School. It's Bart Bronk with my weekly video check-in at the end of the second week of our Liggett remote learning experience. And I do hope this message finds you well and safe. I began last week's message with a moment of acknowledgement for our medical professionals in our community and the heroic work that they're doing, and they continue to be on my mind and in my heart. I also want to acknowledge that there are other workers who continue to have to leave home every day and do their essential work so that our society can continue and that the rest of us can be healthy and safe. So I think this week I'm thinking in particular about those who have been deemed essential in some fashion. I think about those in the restaurant industry. I think about those in the retail industry. I think about those in the transportation industry, maintenance, media, journalism, all of these really, really critical roles for our society to continue to function and for the rest of us to be safe that require personal sacrifice on behalf of those folks. They exist in our community, and so essential workers with a capital E, I'm thinking of you, we're thinking of you, we love you, and we support you. As I said, it is the end of our second week of online learning. It was a great week, and we continue to grow together, both in our practice and in the work that we're doing online. I appreciate those in particular who took opportunities to give us feedback this week at our Middle School Parents Association and our Upper School Parents Association meetings. In addition to being powerful feedback venues, those also became really important moments of human connection, which I think is something we're all maybe missing right now. And so I appreciated the opportunity to connect with fellow parents in those venues. Lower school parents, you'll have your chance next Tuesday. We're also going to do some formal surveying in this newsletter. So in this newsletter, parents, you'll find a survey link for you to give some written feedback about your experience thus far. And we'll also know that we're going to survey students. So students will be receiving a link, students in grades 4 and up who are pretty good at doing surveys, giving us their impressions. That feedback from both students and families is really critical for us as we try to get better every day and as we try to create a remote learning plan that is sustainable and meaningful and productive for the weeks ahead. So I thank you in advance for that feedback. I've been thinking a lot about this coming weekend. It's a 4-day weekend for our community, so there will be no online school on Friday today or Monday. Probably will feel a little different than most long weekends. I doubt many of us will be traveling anywhere. And I've been thinking about that. It's also a long weekend in which two major faiths are observing really important holidays. I think about the Jewish faith and Passover. I think about the Easter faith, the Easter celebration for the Christian faith, and I even think a couple weeks ahead to the beginning of Ramadan for those that practice the Islamic faith. And so I've been thinking about that, and it's interesting that those spring observations, which are among the most important in the traditions of each of those world faiths, they share some things in common. And one of the things that they share in common that I really think is maybe pertinent for all of us right now is they share a notion of the importance of sacrifice. And they share a practice of ritual sacrifice. I think about the Lenten practice of giving something up in the weeks leading up to Easter. I think about Passover and the unleavened bread and the things that had to be sacrificed so that the Exodus could happen, and the ways that we observe that today. I think about fasting during Ramadan. And all of those sacrifices are made in service of something greater. In those faiths, it's in service of a greater connection, it's in service of greater faith, it's in service of resurrection and transformation, but it's all a sacrifice made in service of something greater, a greater human experience. And I think there's a lot to be learned about for us about where we are right now, no matter what faith we practice. We are in a moment of sacrifice. We are staying home. We are doing without things that we are typically used to having. And that is sacrifice. And so there's lots of sacrifice going on now in our community. But I like to believe, and I hope you believe, that sacrifice is in service of something greater. I hope that we come out on the other side of this period of sacrifice with greater humanity, with greater appreciation. And fundamentally, something that certainly is a part of all three of those major faiths, I hope we come out with a greater sense of human connection. And so that's going to be my challenge for this Friday, this weekend for you, is to make this a weekend of human connection. And I don't mean through screens, although you're certainly welcome to continue having Zoom happy hours because I know they're very popular. I mean human connection. I mean face-to-face connection. And I mean connection with those in your household, those with whom you have the fortune to be sheltering with. Now, if you're not sure about how to do that, I have an idea. And so here's my challenge for the weekend. Why don't we make this a weekend where we do a family game night? For my family, human connection happens most powerfully around the medium of a board game. And I know it sounds a little ridiculous, and so most of the time we don't even believe it until we actually start playing and we realize that the phones are away and the screens are off, and we're connecting and laughing and enjoying each other's company together. So pick a night this weekend, have a family game night, use hashtag ULSConnect to share that game night, and images of that game night with our greater community. And if we all do that together, maybe we'll be putting a little bit of connective good in the world that will lift up our entire community. I will talk to you soon, and until next Friday, have a wonderful weekend.